When you think of astronauts, you probably think of NASA and space shuttles. You might have even seen one launched last week on TV. The US Space Agency has been a world leader in space exploration ever since they won the race to get a man on the moon back in the 1960s. But as Sarah found out, NASA might have to start rethinking some of its biggest plans for future travel.
This was the moment that made the US and NASA the world leaders in space exploration. After years of research and huge amounts of money, Apollo 11 took off, bound for the moon.
Okay, here, the Eagle has landed. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The American flag became the first to be planted in ground not belonging to the Earth.
Hey, Mr. Spaceman.
NASA stopped sending people to the moon in 1972, but it wasn't done with space. There was research to do, satellites to launch, and eventually a space station to build. The rockets that went to the moon were no good for that because they weren't designed to come back to Earth. Only a little capsule came back with the astronauts inside. So NASA came up with the only reusable spaceship ever built, the shuttle. It had wings designed for gliding back to Earth, while a big breakaway fuel tank and reusable rockets gave it the boost needed to get into orbit. It couldn't go all the way to the moon, but it was perfect for going into orbit to, say, drop off a satellite. When the shuttles first took off, it was a huge deal. There were live TV broadcasts, and it was considered pretty exciting viewing. Politicians were prepared to put a lot of money into getting people into orbit.
7, 3, 6, 2, 5.
As the missions have continued, we've become used to seeing people in orbit. Meanwhile, the shuttles have aged. There are only 3 left, and they're getting worn, outdated, and riskier to fly. And in September this year, after 134 launches, the last one's due to touch down forever. NASA doesn't have anything else capable of taking people into orbit. So what's next? Is this the end of the American journey into space? NASA did have some big plans for the future. A project called Constellation was supposed to take people back to the moon, then onto Mars. But now, Constellation might be pulled back to Earth. It would cost billions. President Obama reckons the money would be better spent here on Earth, on things like schools. NASA will still be funded to explore space. And whatever happens, it's not the end of humanity's journey beyond the Earth. Russia's Soyuz spacecraft are taking people and supplies to the space station and back. They're also working on getting people back to the moon, and so are India, China and South Korea. Another hope is that space tourism will take off, and private companies will get people into orbit and beyond. So we probably haven't seen the last human footprint on the moon. But chances are, next time there'll be a different flag up there.